Okay, this project is called the fruit face. What we want to do here is we want to take and layer a face onto the strawberry, combining them so they look integrated and harmonious. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and make a selection of the face. I'll be using my big old face here, and I'll make a selection. Now, when I make the selection, I'm going to feather my selection. So I have my feather set at 25. And I really want to get my entire face without extra stuff. And if you need to adjust your selection here, then you can go over to select and transform selection in case you want to rotate your selection a little bit, which I do. Kind of put it in place. Once I'm happy, double click it, take the move tool, pick it up and move it into place. Now you see I'm able to put it into place here. And I want to scale it down. So I'm going to take go over to edit, and I'm going to use the free transform, Command T, because that allows me to rotate and scale a lot of things at the same time. So as I scale it, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, make it smaller, and going to scale it down a little bit more. Now, when I look at this, I notice that if I were to just rotate the face right here like that, I'm going to have the shadow side up top, the highlight side under the bottom, which is opposite the piece of fruit. So before I even do that, I'm going to flip this over. So I'm going to say Edit, Transform. I'm going to flip it horizontal. So now I can go back and rotate it, and the light side will be on the correct side. If your face is in the right direction, you wouldn't have to do that. But I don't want the light to be confusing. So I'll shape it, and I'll probably make it a little bit smaller, kind of getting it into place. I want it to go a little bit over the edges because I'm going to feather it back, but that's a good beginning. I'll double click it, and then we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, now that we have the selection in place, I'm going to duplicate that selection, duplicate the layers. So I want to show you how to do this in two different ways. So here we'll take the layer and we'll duplicate it. And I'll turn the top one off and I'll work on the lower one. I'm going to show you two ways to adjust the color, and that's why we're doing this. The first way I want to show you is going to be to use just the color beginning. The second way I'm going to show you is we're going to desaturate the picture first. Then you can always choose which one you prefer. So here we go to image and we'll say adjust, and we'll go to hue and saturation. Now you'll notice the strawberries are very bright red and the face is a flesh tone, and the situation's kind of an orangey yellow. If I were to adjust the hue, you can see I could change the color of the face based on the hue, but I'm looking for red. So if I go in this direction, I'm not going to find it. If I go in this direction, I see that's purple. I've already missed it. So I've got to go backward a little bit. That's red. Now, the color's bright, so let's increase the saturation. See that? That helps me find it. Now, if I go too much to the right, it looks orange. I'm missing it. If I go this way, it's purple, blue. Nope. So I want to stop around here where I think the color matches very nicely. There's a nice closeness there almost. And let's see. I want to go a little more. That's good. And I'll hit OK. So now I've got this kind of bright color. The next thing is to just take and get rid of all the dark edges along the edge of the face. This little hairline here where the face is a different tone. We want to get rid of that as well. So here's what we'll do. We're going to take it and we're going to use the eraser. And I'm going to just erase from the edges. Notice I don't go in, I pull out. And the eraser is soft, and the brush size is large. So it does feather a lot away, and that's good. And I don't want to get into the details. I want to really stay at the peripheral, the edges. It's just like I'm doing here. Here I have to go in far enough because I'm outside the boundaries of the fruit, and just come across. And it's a pretty simple process here. And just blending it away, pulling it away from the face, and a little bit there, Let that kind of blend in on its own. And that's looking pretty good. Now I probably want to burn it a little bit on this side. So I grab what's the burn tool, make sure it's the burn tool. Increase my exposure about 30%. Just a little dab here, just to darken it, not a lot. Worst thing you can do is overdo this stuff. So it's kind of blended in. And that's one way to do it. Okay, this time we're going to approach it a little bit differently in terms of how we're going to change the color and create a color balance and harmony. So what we're doing is, this is the one we just made. I'm shutting that one off. Making active the one we copied. I'm going to desaturate it. So I'm going to go up to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to go over where it says Desaturate. And I take the color out of it. And now what I want to do is I'm going to adjust color in that, but I'm going to do it differently. You might remember during the video on layers, you guys had to change the color, I think it was of some type of valve. And you went over to Image Adjust and you used color balance. So we're going to use color balance. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to start off with the shadows. So it starts off on midtones. I'm going to go to shadows and I'm going to increase the red. And I'm going to increase the red, and I'm going to increase the yellow. Magenta, everybody got brightened up to the max. Then I'm going to go over to highlights, and I'm going to increase the red substantially, and some of the magenta, and some of the yellow. And I might want to balance between some of this. It's a little too much yellow, maybe. Let's see. That looks pretty good. And use your own eyes to make judgments. You can look at midtone if you want. But I usually find, yeah, a little bit of that works. A little bit, not a lot. And little adjustments. But I start with shadow, go to highlights. Then I get to the middle. I'm looking for a color that says red, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eraser in the same fashion. I'm going to erase away from the edges. And look, my eraser is set at 19. So I'm going to pass it a lot. Or I can increase that. So I go a little bit faster. But later on, you want to soften it. So right now I'm going about half, and that means to make it completely gone, I've got to go over the area twice. So I can slow myself down from making errors. Here I have to shape up around the edge of the fruit itself. So come over here, clean that up. Same thing here. I'm way extended past the fruit edge. Clean it up. And don't leave a lot of ghost there on the outside. And here I want to get rid of anything that separates the edge from the fruit. So here, just feathery, just pulling it, getting close to the texture. When you can get like halfway between the texture and your face, you're doing good. I'm going to lower the intensity of the eraser. I'm going to do little taps around the face. So you see I picked up a seed there. But I'm not going after any important detail. I'm just softly integrating. And once you're happy with what you've done, you can hit Command Save, which I just did. And so here are your two choices. The first way, which I did, which was just using pure color, and it gives you a different tonal approach, or you can try it with the desaturation. They're both successful. They're both a little different. At this point, it becomes about preference. I hope you enjoyed the lesson and experiment with your own objects.